Hi everyone, and welcome to Pathophysiology 2, Biology 2519. I'm your instructor, Dr. Sarah Wrigley McDonald, and I'm hoping that this video will walk you through the basic navigation of the course. So what you're looking at now is your D2L homepage. And so across the top here you have the home button, which is the view we're seeing now, the content button, which will show you all the components of the course, and under assessments, you'll find your grades and you'll find quizzes. Now, our quizzes for the course are actually going to be housed in the Lippincott website called CoursePoint, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. But your midterm and final exams will be held here. Other than that, under surveys, you'll find a course evaluation survey. So this is an anonymous 5-minute survey, which will tell me what you found worked in the course, didn't work in the course, or something maybe that I'm missing in the course. Under communication, you'll find a discussion board. For resources, I don't really use these. The calendar can be handy if you want to input your own deadlines for chapters or midterm or final. But because this course is open entry, meaning that you pace yourself within your 6-month course timeline, I don't set deadlines because everyone goes through at a different pace. The UMB library resources are always great, and in the Get Help section, you're going to find a lot of great resources that will help you determine if your computer is compatible with the system in your browser. So you can check down here to make sure that quizzes on this computer, which for this course would be your midterm and final exam, are compatible. Also check your browser to make sure it'll work. If you have any issues, contact IT service. And there's different tutorials here as well. So what is going to be added up here is the virtual classroom link. So the virtual classroom is a place where we can meet online one-to-one and discuss any questions, concerns that you have, or go through a midterm or final exam. So this is a kind of a one-on-one video conferencing, if you like. And that link will appear up here. So if I get into the guts of the course, we're going to start in the Start Here folder. So this is a folder similar to all other CEL courses that are online, with one exception. So I've added a course guide down here in the bottom. So when I click on Course Guide, we're going to find this file. So I understand that in this course there's a lot of information and there's a lot of different components. I get a lot of questions on how to navigate the course and where to find different things. So I've created the course guide to try and simplify it. So in the How to Get Started file, you'll find links for the syllabus, the introductory video, which is what you're watching now, how to navigate the course, video on study tips, course resources, and a suggested schedule. In the exam information section, you're going to find all of this information, including a list of all possible short answer questions. And yes, you did read that right. So I do provide my students with a list of all possible short answer questions. Keep in mind, it's a very long list. However, it's also an excellent study guide for the midterm and final exams. If you study and work through all of those questions, it'll really help you not only answer the short answer questions, but it will help you with many of the multiple choice questions. However, do not only study the short answer questions. They will not contain all aspects of the course. So please use it as one study tool in combination with your textbook, the PowerPoint files, and the lectures. Lastly, we have a Need Help file, and in here you'll find kind of a guide of who to contact if you have a question. So just quickly, for how to get started, we have read the syllabus, which we'll go through very quickly right now. So again, that's me. There's my email address. So here's the breakdown of marks. There's your grading scheme. For your exams, Both exams are closed book and invigilated. So that simply means that because it's a closed book exam, you have to have someone monitoring your exam just to ensure that you're not using your phone, you're not talking to a buddy, and you're not using different websites. So the invigilator is there to kind of watch over you a little bit, and they'll also be getting you to sign a paper saying you are who you are, and checking the browser history after the exam is complete. So with course resources, we're going to be using the Porth Pathophysiology textbook, our second Canadian edition, and we'll be using a PrepU software, and I'll show you that momentarily. So you do have to have the textbook and you have to have the software, because the software is where you do your quizzes, and your quizzes are worth 20% of your final exam. So to purchase, the hard copy and PrepU is $277 Canadian plus tax. That's very pricey. Unfortunately, I can't get the price down. However, if you are okay with an ebook, if you go through this website, you can get it for about 170 Canadian plus tax. And it is just the ebook and the software, but you can often find these textbooks quite cheap secondhand. So if you really want a hard copy text, there are often first or second Canadian edition textbooks around for sale. This is a very popular textbook with nursing programs or kinesiology programs. And so if you really want a hard copy, you can probably find one for less than the difference between these two packages. So in D2L, you'll find lots of information there. Here's the breakdown of the course. So again, 8 modules. The first 4 are covered in the midterm, and all 8 are covered in the exam. So the final exam is cumulative, but the first 4 modules only comprise 30% of the points on the final, where 70% of the points are covering modules 5 through 8. So with CEL, because it's an open entry course, we have different guidelines as to what happens if you need to withdraw within the first 30 days, within 30 to 120 days, and then over 120. And so there are consequences for withdrawing, both academically, so whether it's removed from your transcript entirely, whether there's a W placed or a WF, and then financially, if it's the first 10 days, so you get a certain amount back within 11 to 30 days, another certain amount back, and beyond that, you don't get a refund. So life happens, so keep these deadlines in mind, just in case you start the course and then life gets messy. So academic integrity is our last section. So I have had students in the past cheat on the final exam and the midterm, meaning that they were accessing websites while the invigilator was in the room and just wasn't looking at the moment. So unfortunately, there are some pretty significant consequences for that. So that is why the invigilators will also be checking the web browser history after each exam to ensure that all that is seen is you accessing the exam at the beginning of the exam period and nothing else. And so hopefully that will solve that problem. But be aware that we will be watching, and there are really significant penalties, so you don't want to put yourself in that position. So I've come back to the How to Get Started file. And so again, we've done the syllabus. You're watching your video now. Here's a YouTube video that I created to help all of my students in all of my courses. So I do currently teach 7 online courses for UMB biology. And so it's about 20 minutes long, but it really does contain all of my favorite study tips. So please give it a listen. I hope you find it useful. My next big suggestion is make a schedule. So because you have a full 6 months, so again, you can write your final exam on your course end date. 6 months is a long time, but also a short time. If you don't create a schedule and ensure that you start working through content, if you lose track of time, this is not a course that you can crunch into 2 weeks. There's a lot of information here. It's a 2nd level biology course, and it's designed for nursing, kinesiology, and those working towards a health professional program. And so just make sure you pace yourself appropriately. So create a schedule for yourself. And I do have a Word file here you can download with 2 examples. And I have it as a Word so you can edit it however you need to. I would suggest, especially if you haven't taken a lot of biology courses. I know you've taken anatomy and physiology. This is a little bit more intense. So you may want to even do the first module or so and then start looking at, okay, when would I book my midterm? When would I like to book my final? That kind of thing. So within each module, my recommendation is that you read the PowerPoint file, watch the YouTube lecture, and then there's a lot of additional resources. So there's videos, case studies, journal articles. Some of these are on Brightspace. Some of these are on the Lippincott site that I'll show you shortly. Study your notes, rewatch your lecture, and then do your PrepU quiz. So this is an open book quiz, but I always recommend that you try to do it without opening your book if possible, and then you have a good idea of what you know. For course resources, we have the textbook, which again is Port's Pathophysiology, 2nd Canadian edition. If you're buying the hard copy secondhand, 1st edition is fine as well. You can purchase it there. It's the same link as we saw on the syllabus. After you have your account, you're going to use this course code, and that will give you access to our specific quizzes for the course. There's lots of great resources here, and this student user guide will take you through that a little bit. And so right now what I'm going to do is go to that website. So when you click the link on the syllabus, it's going to take you to this site. And you'll be clicking Buy Now, and it'll walk you through that process. So because I already have access, I'm going to click on Return User, and I'll log in. I'm going to switch to Student View, and we're all set. So I'm going to click on Course Content. And so here what we're seeing is that we're viewing it by resource type. We have our bookshelf with our textbook, our ebook right here. You have a dictionary here, but we also have a lot of things going on here. So just quickly, there's the learning community for students, startup guide, user guide. There's your ebook again. Your learning objectives, which are here, but they're also in each of the modular folders. There's different videos here that you can click on. And again, they're divided by chapter. So lots of different really great things here. And some of them are older, so they're kind of old school, but they're all useful.
Absorption refers to the transport of drugs across the membranes of mucosal cells in the gastrointestinal.
So that's really handy simply because it gives you something else to listen to, something to kind of work with a little bit. And there's lots of great information here. It is general information, so these videos can be used for many, many courses, but it's nice that they've related them to each individual chapter. So I will not be asking you anything from these videos that isn't already in the lecture or the PowerPoint. So this is kind of the level of information. So if we go back to course content, you'll see journal articles here. These are very interesting. They're a little bit more advanced. So if you're a student who wants to push themselves a little bit more, maybe you have a already strong background in A&P, so anatomy and physiology, and you want a little bit more meat. If you click on journal articles, again, they're divided by chapter. So maybe when you look at the journal article titles, one will really kind of trigger an interest for you, and you can go there. But right now I want to click on PrepU. So when you click on the course, this will be what you see. So you can see how you're doing, and I want you to click on assignments. I'm going to sort them by name, and now you can see all of the quizzes for each module for the course. As you do each quiz, and you reach the certain level of mastery assigned, and I'll explain that in a minute, underneath status you'll see them marked as complete. Once you have all of the quizzes marked as complete, you will receive your full 20% towards your final grade. Keep in mind that these marks are not automatically synced with D2L, so you won't see them added until I calculate your final grade, after you write your final exam. So I'm going to click on this one here, so you can see Module 1, Chapter 13, Current Mastery 1, Target Mastery 3. The target mastery really means that you've demonstrated a level of knowledge over this chapter's content. So you can take as many quizzes as you like to reach the target mastery, and it says they all must be completed by this date. I have to add a date to the course, and so this will change as we move along. So you can ignore this part. For your purposes, all of these quizzes have to be completed prior to you writing your final exam. And you'll notice that on the syllabus as well. All assessments must be completed prior to writing the final exam in order for those marks to be added to your final grade. So just make sure they're all done. When you do a quiz, you'll see that you can choose the number of questions, and then you just simply click Start Quiz. There are practice quizzes, and they're useful, but you may as well be working on your assignments and increasing your level of mastery to again get that mark of complete. And that's it for Prep U. So I'm going to go back to our course guide. We've kind of done all of this. So now I'm going to click on Exam Information. So here's my recommendation for studying, the breakdown of the midterm exam. So again, I get this question a lot. What kind of questions will I see? How many of each? How many short answer questions? Here's the link of all possible short answer questions. And there it is again down here. So just a reminder that the exams are closed book and invigilated. Here's how to book your exam, questions about invigilation, and lastly, your link to transcript requests. So that really covers that part. So lastly is, do you need help? At some point in the course, you're going to have a question and not necessarily know where to go for the answer. So this is kind of your cheat sheet, right? If your question pertains to course content, marks, study advice, I'm your person. If it's payments, registration, withdrawals, extensions, here's your guide. Technical issues, here's your guide. So this is a really great guide for you so you know who to approach. If I don't have something listed here and you still have a question, approach me, right? I'm the instructor. I'm always happy to get an email. Again, as it's written up here, I do my best to respond to emails within 24 to 48 hours through the week, and Monday if it's sent over the weekend. I do have 7 courses running online, so I do get a large number of emails, especially over the summer, so I do appreciate patience. Having said that, if it's been 3 days and you haven't heard back, 4 days and you haven't heard back, feel free to send me another email, right? It never hurts to give me a little nudge. I don't mind that. Lastly, I don't have a UMB office, so I don't have a UMB phone number, so you cannot call me. However, I'm happy to book an appointment to talk to you by phone or online in the virtual classroom. And that's a really great tool, as I do have students right around the world. So with that, we're kind of done the course guide. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click Content. And so now you're seeing the content view. And so you're seeing everything in the course listed here on the left. And you can see that there's a little arrow here showing you that we're currently in this folder. The next folder is the basic course information. And really what you're seeing in this folder are all of the links and files that are linked to in that course guide. So it's essentially the same information, but individual files rather than having that one course guide. In each of the modular folders, you'll see the same thing consistently. A PDF of the lecture, a PowerPoint of the lecture. These are the same information here, just 2 different formats. There's your objectives, your YouTube playlist, and case studies. So each of the modules are the same. And if you scroll down here to the bottom, you'll find your exams. They are password protected, so don't worry about clicking on them. You won't get access. So you will click on these when you're with your invigilator. They will input the password, and then you can begin your exam. Lastly, final steps. You'll see here a few things to consider after writing your final. So it is your course feedback, your transcript form, and if you want to turn off notifications for the course, it has information on that as well. Lastly, if we go back to the Start Here folder, you'll notice that there are 5 items here, but it's showing number 3. Simply, this is the number of items remaining. So these are items I have not accessed yet under the student profile. So don't let that throw you off, right? If you click on everything in here, it won't show a number at all. Everything's still here. It just simply means it's not new to you. So it doesn't have the number there. So that's really it. I hope this video was helpful for you. As always, please approach me if you have a question, and I hope you enjoy the course.